What's up, guys? Thought I'd do a quick check-in. I haven't done one of these in a long time. I left California last June and knew I was destined for a warmer place that was less expensive and less flammable, and was drawn to Austin. It's very vegan and progressive, way less expensive and nice and warm. So I was there the end of June, and within a month I knew I wasn't supposed to stay there. All my efforts to set up residency were met with one brick wall after the other. So I knew that was a redirect. That's not always the case, but I could feel that was a redirect. So, but over the years I had been hearing Miami in my inner voice, and I've been ignoring it because, I majored in wildlife conservation, and we learned the effects of sea level rise, and that Florida's like the first on the list to go. And I thought, why would my intuition lead me to Miami? But that's the thinking mind, right? Like, sea level rise isn't gonna take us out overnight. Anyway, so, but the Miami thing, I just kept pushing it off. I'm like, no, I'm not going to Miami. I lived in Florida for 12 years, and I felt like this place is not being taken care of by the powers that be, and so I'm just not coming back to watch someone I love die slow, right? I love Florida. Anyway, so I'm in Austin, and I realized it's not my place, and Miami was still buzzing. I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to Miami. Now, I don't know anybody in Miami. I don't have any connections here. My friend's dad lives here, and so she's like, maybe you can stay with my dad for a couple days. So I headed to Miami in the end of October last year, blind, and just trusted that things were going to line up. And other than some bumps and bruises and black eyes and tears and all that, they've lined up, and they've lined up pretty beautifully. I was here 4 days, and I walked on the property of Aguacate Vegan Juice Bar here in West Kendall of Miami. Met the owner, Danae, and it was World Vegan Day, and there were sparks and ideas. Her and I have very similar visions on how to help be of service in the world, and our perspectives align so beautifully. And she opened the door for me and was such a beautiful support, and is still a beautiful support for me and my vision and my services and my mission. And we just gel on so many levels. So I'm very dedicated to living an intuition-led life. In fact, so much so that I wrote a book about it. It's a little book, but it's got a lot of power-packed insights on what happens, the magic that happens when you just shut out all the shoulds and the expectations and the pressures and the guilt, and you listen to what your heart and your inner wisdom say. Because that GPS, my friends, is the only one with an infinite, unmesswithable connection to wisdom. Everything else is subject to change. Your intuition is always going to guide you in the best direction for you and your expression and your services. So, listening to that inner wisdom may not seem logical, and there may not be any evidence to suggest it's going to be a good idea, but things will line up such that you are not only supported, but you thrive. I felt the deepest depths of joy and also the deepest depths of pain. But that's part of the living in duality, right? So following your inner wisdom and your inner guidance isn't going to look like what anyone else is doing. And that's part of what we're needing to do, is build a new humanity based on that inner conversation. You got to have confidence in yourself and in the universe. And you got to be repetitively visiting this connection and taking action on behalf of it to solidify the connection. There's basically like a Wi-Fi connection that has to be continually accessed and acted upon in order to confirm it, to communicate back to the universe. Okay, I'm listening, and I'm willing to take action to anchor these energies into the physical realm. So you got to listen, and you got to take action, and the payoffs are beautiful. And yes, I've been hitting the head a lot and black eyes and crying, and like, it's a pretty bumpy ride, when you're following this intuition-led conversation. But the benefits are really juicy, and they're ever more supportive, and they help you unpackage gifts you didn't know you had, and gently guide you to a path that you didn't think was available. And wow, it's not only available, but it feels so good when you do it. And the people that you align with are so juicy, and you just have this really lovely connection with them that feels bound not by time or space, right? So there's a soul conversation that you can connect to When you stop listening to what you think you're supposed to do, listen to this inner call and be open to things looking and being different than what your brain was thinking. There's so much that we as a human society are going to birth in this new humanity, and it is not going to come from any news headline, from any press release, any, initiative on a ballot. It's going to come from each individual one of us listening to and taking action on the inner guidance of our soul, and then building from that place. So please listen. I'm going to be hosting a book talk here in Miami about this experience that I have, that I'm going to continue to have, because living intuition guided is genuinely one of the things I feel humanity is going to start doing on the regular here. And it's going to be an exciting conversation. I hosted a couple of these back in California, very well received. And the time is now. We can't look for solutions and answers from the shit show that's happening around us. And really, each of us is the birth of the new way. So we'll see you in the next video.